there, Erin from Morehouse Farm with today's knitting tip, which is how to do the shaping for the toe of the adorable Morehouse baby booties. And the way we're going to do that is using some turn shaping. How it works is we're knitting across the bottom of the booty, but then when we get to the section where we want to create the toe, we need to start knitting two together. Then we work back across, knit two together here, and so forth. And when I say knit, sometimes you're going to purl because we do have a stockinette pattern here, but when we combine the stitch on the side with the stitch on the top, it brings them together and creates that shaping, which will then be the instep of the toe. And we're knitting these flat and then sewing them together. We'll add a row of yarn overs to hold the laces, and then this really cute little cuff will be added, and there you go, one baby booty. So let's get started. First, you're going to knit across for whatever the pattern tells you for what you're making. And when you get to the right place, it's going to tell you knit two together. That's pretty self-explanatory. Knit those stitches together as if they were one. And then it's going to tell you to turn. Now, most of us turn our work at the end of a row without even thinking about it, but it is part of the knitting instructions. So follow it here. We're going to turn. And that means we're going to work back in the opposite direction. So we're going to leave the stitches that we haven't knit yet alone until we come back to them in the pattern. Okay, so first we're supposed to slip a stitch and then we're going to purl across. And when we get to the end of the purling section, your pattern will tell you exactly how many, you're going to purl two together. Okay? Then you're going to turn. And then you're going to slip a stitch, just repositioning here, and we're going to knit across for as many as it says. But if you're like me and you like to read your knitting, I bet you see where this is going. Here we are at the end. What did we do last time? Well, we knit two together, so that's what we're going to keep on doing. And then, you guessed it, we're going to turn. Slip the first stitch. Okay, you can decide if you want to purl picking or throwing, just like you can decide that for knitting. I find the throwing is a little bit trickier when I have my Miss Piggy Band-Aid on a knitting finger, so I do tend towards the picking. Okay, there we are, again, turn. See, I'm not even thinking about it as I'm doing it because it's pretty easy to see where I need to do the next move. Right. I'm working in stockinette here, so I know I need to neither knit or purl as it works out to keep in pattern. Then I know I need to turn, and the last two, meaning the last one of this little section that I'm working on, I'm going to knit or purl together, whatever keeps in pattern, with the instep coming closer to the side. And I'll show you what I mean just as we get over there. I've got two stitches left here. Okay, you can see right away that there's more rows in this section than there are in this section. And I'm here on the last one. If I were to just knit that, it would make this section a lot taller than this section. That is why, as this section is growing in height, we want to also bring it together with the side, and that's what's creating the instep of the little shoe. So we're going to purl those two together and continue on our merry way. And that is how you begin to create the instep of the baby booties. Happy knitting from Morehouse Farm.